The bell bottoms? Are they in?
I can't believe it took you that long to get to them.
I mean,
are we calling them bell bottoms or their flare?
What's the difference?
Teach me.
I don't know.
This is me doing my research.
Honestly, I don't know. I was like, are bell bottoms for short kings? Are they for talls?
Welcome back, everybody. The Super Bowl was this weekend. The dips were dipping. There was a game played, but I was more concerned with the buffalo chicken dip, if I'm being honest.
You were. You actually.
I was elbow deep.
Yeah, I saw that firsthand. The best one that I had was like this Thai sesame dip, which also had a layer of cream cheese, which when I was making it at our friend's house, I was like, there's no way this is. And then I tried it, and it
If
was.
a Super Bowl dip doesn't have cream cheese, is it a Super Bowl dip?
Well, I was not in that camp before, but I am firmly in it now. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? This is good.
Well, there was plenty of dips, but there was also a game. Bird Gang, let's go. I keep saying it's the one time where Coach Auriemma, I guess I can call him Gino on this show, where Gino and Dawn are actually cheering for the same team. The Eagles got the win. I'm in the Bird Gang now.
Both
I mean, I never
natives.
left, but.
Yeah. You're in there. You're an Eagles fan, or you're just a bird?
No, I was very happy for the Eagles. I would have been happy with a
too.
three-peat. I would have been happy, or I am happy for the Eagles as well.
I was really happy. I was really happy for Saquon, and I was really happy for Jalen Hurts and everybody, but those two in particular. It was fun. We're going to talk more about the Super Bowl and all the things that happened, from commercials to fashion to honestly how women played a starring role in all of it. We're going to do that in the intersection, though, because the big game was far from just a little sporting event as it's billed. I'm Megan Rapinoe.
I'm Sue Bird, and this is A Touch More. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's get right into the check-in. We have a lot to check in about today. There was a lot that's happened since our last episode. First and foremost, the much-anticipated Unrivaled one-on-one tournament opened up on Monday night. As you guys know, we are recording on Tuesday. Quick note, the second round and quarterfinals were played on Tuesday, but as you know, we record on Tuesdays. So we don't have all of those. We'll give you some general thoughts on round one. And then also just a big FYI, which I was like last night years old when I realized that there were 7 players ruled out on Sunday evening due to lingering injuries. So 7 players received byes into the second round. So the bracket got a little funky, but some players just honestly got lucky.
Yeah, injuries starting to creep up in this league a little bit.
I mean, it's basically like all these players' preseasons, and the games are intense, and so
I think it's just a normal part. It's just when you only have 6 people on a roster, 5 people on a roster. If you drop 2 and you're down to 3 in a 3-on-3 league, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
In the WNBA, how it shows up is like we have 12 or 11, and when you drop down to 9, you actually get to replace a player, you get an injury replacement.
Okay.
But that's when the layup lines start to get they get tough. They get tough.
Becomes a cardio
All of
drill.
us joke. We're like, dang, these layup lines are no joke.
And you're just sprinting in a
Literally.
circle the whole
Yeah, you're
time.
basically shooting a layup and rebounding at the same time.
Gets real tight real quick. Sue, give us your thoughts on the first round of the tournament in general.
I loved it. I thought it was really exciting. There was a lot of intriguing matchups. That's what I think my favorite part is that with each game, there were 8 games played in round one. With each one, there was something interesting about it, something different about it. First and foremost, the thing I noticed was conditioning.
They were
I mean,
breathing.
you got to be fit. And I think what was more surprising, whether it was you, some people hitting my phone, texting me, people were surprised that it was this hard from a conditioning standpoint. And I'm like, oh, you've probably never played competitive one-on-one then.
Well,
Like if you
I've
play
certainly never
one-on-one,
have.
if you play you've never played competitive one-on-one?
I mean,
not for a cash prize, but
Not for
I thought you-
$200K. I mean, Rachel and I played when we were younger. I guess we probably would have been tired.
but
Honestly,
you had that youth thing going. You never get tired.
Yeah, I was really, not that I was thinking like, oh, fitness isn't going to play a role, but I was kind of like shocked by, and then it does make sense. You're just, it's
All
one of
it
those things that's
did-
very obvious when you watch it, but like not very many people play one-on-one, so I get it.
Well, there's like 1,000 ways to play one-on-one. The way that they're playing it, once I saw the rules, the fact that they can get offensive rebounds, which growing up, there was always a kid who was like constantly shooting it and running after it, and you hated that kid. You know who you are. Your name was probably Megan, but
Is it me?
hated that kid. But no, there's so many ways. But the way the rules are, like I said, I knew it was going to be hard. It's just the style of it. I knew it was going to be hard, and they're playing for something. And it reminded me of why I always hated playing one-on-one in my workouts, in practice, because it's just you. You got to play offense, you got to play defense, you got to play hard, and it's exhausting. It also reminded me of, man, every basketball player is going to know this drill. The defensive one-on-one drill. You're in the middle of the key. The coach is at the top with the ball. There's an offensive player on each wing. They roll it out, and you got to go close out. At Connecticut, we had to get 3 stops in a row. What did I tell you last night? If you didn't get the first 3, you were done.
Dead.
You were done. It's the most
Like,
exhausted
what was
I've ever
the limit?
been in my life.
What was the limit?
Until you get 3 in a row. In a row.
But then, like, some people
And then it would be like, all right, just get 3 stops.
oh,
No, you'd be stuck in there. I can't. The stories
Jell-O.
I have.
Jell-O legs.
The stories I have. But that was definitely the first thing that I noticed strategically. Like, you got to be in shape for this. I also noticed one little strategy. I saw Kalia Copper do it. I saw Jackie Young do it. The old fix the hair. The old fix the hair routine.
That was just my
Because if
sock.
you're fixing your hair, you got a little breath.
Yeah.
Take a little breath in there.
Let me just get a little second.
Referee,
Yeah.
I'm not ready. I
That
gotta
was
fix
like
my hair.
I wouldn't like go fully tie my shoe, but I'd be like, oh, this is crazy. There's like there
Need a
must be a
minute.
little pebble in my shoe. I better stop and check it out.
Yeah. So fitness is a thing. The other thing that came to play in some of the matchups was this idea of size, right? Like Shakira Austin played against Chelsea Gray. Very clearly, her size just dominated the whole game. Or strategy. It's like size versus strategy. With strategy, I think the person who definitely thought about it was Skylar Diggins. So Skylar Diggins Smith was clearly like, I'm playing against a player, Dearica Hamby, who has size, maybe even some strength on me. So what can I do to limit her ability to back me down, her ability to take me to the rim? And it was to foul. Because once you foul a player in the course of the game, a non-shooting foul, they now have to check it up at half court, which is totally different from getting the ball at the top of the key and just being able to rip and go. So I love Skylar's strategy. I thought that was
It won her
super smart.
It won her the game.
It won her
for
the
sure.
game. Now, she still had to hit shots, still to make plays, but I thought that won her her game. And then, Kalia Copper had the line of the night, which was, these big girls need their own bracket, because she had to go against Aaliyah Boston. And that was hard for her. So it's like,
so funny.
it's size versus strategy. That's how I'm seeing this all kind of unfold. It does make me wonder, because by the time our pod comes out, round 2 will already be done. Whose strategy from round 1 like bled over? Was Skylar able to do this again? Is she going to add something else? So that's kind of what I have my eye on.
Did you see any other like really visible strategies out there? Because I feel like Skylar to me was the only one that was like, I know all the rules. Even at one point, she didn't foul. There was an offensive rebound. Dearica got it, and then she fouled her as soon as she got it. She was like, "Oh no, it reset because you can't have 2 fouls in a row." So she obviously like clearly like was
she knew what was up.
Yeah, knowing exactly what was up and
Or was
used
she
it to
calling
negate
for a
her
review?
weaknesses.
Was it a review?
No, she was saying that
she's a big fan of the review.
No, she was saying that it got reset. So did you see
Yeah, no, it
anyone
was
else
smart.
that was?
No,
didn't
I don't
see
think anyone else like really.
I feel like everyone played it straight up.
Yeah, because there were a couple of scenarios where Lexi Hall, who played against Ryan Howard, it looked like Ryan was just going to like run through it. It looked like Ryan was just going to win, not like 11 in a row, which somebody else did. So we'll get to that in a second. But it looked like she was going to run through the game. And all of a sudden, Lexi had a chance. And she had 7. She was sitting on 7. And I thought, like, you need to shoot some threes.
Yeah.
This is when you need to just get some threes up. And she drove to the basket a couple of times. So I thought there were some people, I think, left some strategy on the table, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Skylar's also given the strategy now, so I wonder if players will
start to-
implement that and start
Yeah.
to like use the rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The other
Loved
thing
it.
I noticed was the walkout songs. I thought that was hilarious. Dearica Hamby's, she walked out with her daughter while Victoria Monet's On My Mama was playing. So that was my favorite. But everybody had their own flavor. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I want to know what Courtney Williams is going to choose.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for this next round. Who do you think is the favorite to win it all?
Man, so
we haven't seen everyone yet, but what you've seen and just what you know about them.
Yeah, so I'd picked Tiffany Hayes. Kayla McBride was kind of like my dark horse.
Sad.
They both are out
Bummed
with
about
injuries, so that's that's a bummer. Man, so I think Skylar, because right now, strategically, she's a step ahead of everybody. We were just talking about it. So something tells me she's going to be studying her next opponent, who's Arike Gubawale.
Tough.
Oof, going to be tough. But she's probably already like watching film and figuring it out.
Yeah.
So I think Skylar might make a deep run. What do you think?
I mean, everything that I thought I knew was wrong. I feel like I didn't know a lot. I was like, it was like I was watching one-on-one for the first time ever. I didn't know any of the rules or the strategy, but it unfolded really quickly. I want to say Skylar because I just love how she was thinking about it. Like every player, for whatever reason, whether you're like tall or short or can shoot or can or strong or not, like there's mismatches and advantages and disadvantages no matter who you play. So you're going to have to like use the strategy to do that. So she was already doing that. But honestly, I don't know. I just was having so much fun watching it. I thought it was really entertaining. I think they should play more music during
that was
the
your
games,
initial feedback.
like more hoopla around it because it really is just like one-on-one. You're sort of like missing a little bit of the fanfare. This is like something I've been talking about, just how to continue to make it like a really enjoyable viewing experience. But the games are quick. The games are fun. It's just like if you make like 2 or 3 shots in a row, you're just like all of a sudden on it. So
or not, and you're huffing and puffing.
or not, and you're dying. Yeah. I also liked how Skylar was like, I'm dead serious. About this. I am
200K.
Yeah. I don't care to like.
And all the owls are still in there.
I don't care to like not
All her
try hard.
teammates.
She's like, this is my strategy. This is the only way I could win, and she's going for it. So I loved it.
Yeah. We do have to mention the big upset, which was that the number 8 seed, Aaliyah Edwards, took down number 1 seed, Brianna Stewart. It was a shutout.
Yeah.
I don't remember if she had 11 or 12, but
12.
she shut Stewie out, which I think was really surprising. This, as you mentioned earlier, Megan, there were, because of injuries, a bunch of buys. This particular matchup, they get a bye all the way to the quarterfinals.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they get next round, they get their bye, basically.
they're
And
in.
so, Aaliyah moves right on to the quarterfinals. This is a huge, huge matchup for that reason. It does make you wonder a little bit, like, with all these injuries, should they have thought about some replacement players? Could they have broken down the brackets a little bit? I know it's hard to find them, but I actually have video of one who was working on their free throws, maybe for the call-up. So, we should take a look. What do we have here? Oh,
bunch of buckets.
1 for 1. Bunch of buckets in her slippers.
Yeah. Doesn't matter where you get your shots up, as long as you get them up. 3 for 3. Swish.
She was on fire.
Don't fall her. 4 for 4. You can tell it's getting a little short.
Ooh, tough. You know what they say, though, right, Megan?
What?
You know what they say?
Exactly.
80%.
Not bad, right?
Not bad.
Not bad. Not great, but
No, 80's good.
not bad.
For a guard, you'd probably get fouled a lot. You'd be like a driver.
For everybody
take
not
it.
watching on YouTube, what Sue was referring to was a sign that said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So shooters
I love
gotta
a gym. I love a gym with motivational quotes.
Motivational quotes
written on the walls.
You guys, this did make me think to the fitness point about the one-on-one. Would this be really more my realm rather than a regular
Yeah, you're
game?
little. You're still little.
I know. I mean, I would have to obviously to the nth degree employ the Skylar strategy.
Yeah, you would have to have like some crazy strategy. I really need to think about this.
I would be hucking shots up and sprinting to get the offensive rebound like
you'd
a psycho.
have to get your offensive
I would
rebounds.
have to.
Yeah.
I obviously am.
You'd have to
There'd
run
be a
around a
lot
lot.
of rebounds probably.
Yeah. It's only 7-second shot clock though, so
Oh, I know.
there's only so much damage you can do fitness-wise
I know.
in 7 seconds if you run around.
I know. It's becoming more clear. It might not be for me.
All right, so the semifinals and the finals air tomorrow night, Friday the 14th on TNT and True TV between 7:30 and 9. That is a lead-in for TNT's NBA Rising Stars All-Star Weekend competition, so make sure you all check that out. I also think it's so smart to have it be the lead-in for the NBA Rising Stars competition. That's great timing for TNT. It's also good timing for us to mention that we will be at NBA All-Star. A touch more will be live. It is presented by Chase Freedom. It's going to be at the Valkyrie's new practice facility. I'm super hyped to see that.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm super hyped to see that. And we're going to be joined by some players that y'all know. Asia Wilson, Tiffany Hayes, and everyone's favorite, Kate Money Martin.
What a nickname. What a nickname. We're also having another live coming up, another Touch More live. We're going to be at South by Southwest in Austin, Sunday, March 9th. We'll be recording a special live episode on the official VOX Media podcast stage presented by Smartsheet. Stage will also host live sessions from other VOX Media pods like Pivot, Served with Andy Roddick, and Where Should We Begin with Esther Perel. Come join us. Learn more at voxmedia.com/SXSW. That was a mouthful.
Yeah, you had trouble?
I got it. I got it.
SXSW.
So excited to be in both of those places.
Yeah,
we
super
love
hype.
a live podcast.
Super hype.
Love a live podcast. So it's going to be really fun to be in both those. Support for the show comes from McDonald's. And this one is exciting because just the mention of McDonald's brings back a flood of memories.
First thing that comes to mind is when I was lucky enough in elementary school for my mom to leave me a McDonald's lunch.
At school?
This was like a major thing. You would
won
get
the lottery.
called down to the office. You'd get there and there'd be a Happy Meal just waiting.
After soccer, getting a little Happy Meal, that was just like literally the highlight of my life.
After soccer practice, basketball practice, that was like the
Best.
treat.
Yeah.
The treat.
I worked hard. I'm getting a Happy Meal. And to this day, being in a foreign airport that has a McDonald's, I will never not say no. After the World Cup 2023, boom, McDonald's, New Zealand. Thank you so much. Made all my spirits come back. I loved it so much. I'm getting a cheeseburger. I'm getting fries.
No, it is crazy. Some of my fonder memories in Russia when I played overseas was going to McDonald's. It felt like a home cooked meal.
It's like a little slice.
Yeah,
you
it's
see
like
the
a slice
arches,
of
it's like
home.
a little, a little slice of home.
We didn't even get into the Sundays and McFlurries. That's
That's a whole other thing. Someone else who loves McDonald's, a WNBA All-Star herself, is Angel Reese. For a limited time, you can try Angel Reese's special featuring a barbecue bacon quarter pounder with cheese at participating McDonald's restaurants. It's basketball season, which means it's McDonald's season. Get the Angel Reese special at McDonald's while you still can. Moving on.
You know what time it is.
You know what time it is, everybody. Super College Basketball Vibe Check of the Week is back. It was kind of a big week.
It was.
Wow.
Ugh.
Oh my
Tough for my
goodness.
Huskies.
Yeah.
Tough for my
Bunch
Huskies.
of big dogs going down. Sue, take it away.
Yeah. Well, Tennessee, for the first time since 2007, which is a little misleading because we had a big gap there where we didn't play each other. But since 2007, it's the first time Tennessee has beaten UConn. They took the Huskies down. And honestly, they deserved it. They played really well. I really enjoy their style. We've talked about it, many moons ago when I saw them play live at Barclays a couple months ago. They sub hockey style, 5 in, 5 out. They keep the other team on their toes. Fitness and conditioning is going to come up again. They play fast. They shoot a lot of threes. And I think what we saw in this game and what you see in a lot of Tennessee's wins is just that ability to maintain that style, which wears teams down. But what it does for them, because they're so used to playing it, they don't get caught up. It doesn't seem like Tennessee gets caught up in the highs and the lows of a game. Like if another team goes on a run, they're like, yeah, okay, we're next. Like they're just so used to this style. And I think with this style comes some highs and lows. And they're accustomed to it, which for Connecticut that day, I thought they got off to a pretty good start. Like the game was back and forth, but they had a really good start. Then the third quarter came, Tennessee had their run and really just took control of the game. And then you could see the Huskies got, a little less confident, a little less assertive, a little more hesitant. And now all of a sudden when you're getting pressed like that, when you have to play fast, you can't play fast and not be confident with it. You can't play fast and be tentative. Those two things don't go. You have to keep that up. So I think eventually it just wore Connecticut down, maybe mentally more than physically. I thought Tennessee's size played a role as well. Down the stretch, I thought they did a good job of getting multiple possessions, finishing around the rim. And the Huskies just, I've never called them the Huskies this much in my life.
I know.
It's so weird.
What's going on
like
over
turning
there?
into a broadcaster. They just didn't have enough. Yeah. So listen, I got nothing to say, but congratulations to Tennessee.
Pains to say it though.
No, you kind of, no, not really. They won. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
Am I going to be mad?
Yeah, okay.
Can't be mad about it. I will say, scrolling through my Instagram, I didn't need to see, Candace Parker, Shamiqua Holdsclaw, Justine Brown, like they're all doing their FaceTimes and playing Rocky Top. That you can miss me with that. You can miss me with that.
Tagging you?
No,
Dunking on you?
No.
Okay.
I'm just messing.
I'm sure in the private
No, they are
group
totally
chats.
entitled to their to their gloat, so they can enjoy it. Congrats to them.
Congrats to them. Also, another big loss. South Carolina went down to Texas.
Yeah, that broke.
Well, that was surprising to me.
That snapped a 57-game SEC regular season win streak. I honestly can't even keep up with who's in what conferences anymore, but apparently in the SEC, that was a streak. So we actually couldn't catch the first half of that game. So I really only got to see essentially the fourth quarter. So I don't really have a full opinion on what happened in the game. But it seems like Tennessee, from what the announcers were saying, got off to a great start and just maintained. And, sometimes this is why you have streaks. At some point, they're gonna break. And obviously Texas is somewhat new to the SEC. So at some point that was gonna break. Seemed like a great win for Texas. And, South Carolina, all that does is, give them motivation for their big matchup against UConn this week.
Same though. Same on the other side. I feel like the basketball gods have given us a little gift.
Yeah. Two
Both
mad
these
teams
who
big mad.
basically never lose or lose very rarely. Playing in like a huge rivalry game after coming off a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, when's the last time? I don't even know if this has ever happened.
You know
for
what?
These two
Great
teams.
point. It's probably never happened. Where they're
This is
both
great.
coming off a loss.
Yeah. I mean,
Unprecedented.
when's the last time these two teams lost 2 games in a row? One of them is going
about
to.
to.
This is a huge game.
I don't feel good.
Why?
Well, it's at South Carolina.
Ooh, tough.
They're coming off a loss. And, South Carolina's advantages, depth and size. I think 2 things that UConn's roster is susceptible to. So,
Okay.
tough.
Big game. We're going to be tuning right
We've
into
also
this one.
got, I mentioned Dawn Staley, Gino Auriemma. The one thing they can agree on is the Eagles.
Yeah.
So the one thing they can
They
agree
do
on
love some
is
Eagles.
wearing green on Super Bowl Sunday when the Eagles are in it. That actually goes for USA basketball too. I know they agree on that. But otherwise, they've now turned into, how would you word it? Like rivals. I don't like to say enemies. It's more like rivals. Because I think at the end of the day, you're all on the same page in some way, shape, or form.
I think it's great. Honestly, both these programs have totally set the standard for excellence in women's college basketball over a forever year period. And like, amazing that we have these like 2, Dawn obviously coming up later than Gino, but have these like 2 just like preeminent programs playing in the same era, these 2 characters. I love it. I think it's just great.
Yeah,
for the entertainment of it all.
The way I see it is this is just, it's sports and it's cyclical. This is a cyclical thing that happens in sports. There is a dominant program, in this case Connecticut, who's been dominant forever, and they went through their old cycle, right? So they were the newcomers, then they were the mainstays, and then you kind of become, while becoming the hunted, you kind of become the hated.
Totally.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Like people, it's like
Absolutely.
it comes back around and people start to cheer against you. Now enter South Carolina. Dawn in the last, I'd have to look it up, 5, 6, 7 years has won 3 championships. So now they're kind of in their own cycle. And when 2 programs like that meet, it's got some flashy and some pop to it. So I think that's what everybody's going to be looking forward to. And honestly, this is a nice little segue into the intersection because we're going to get into the Super Bowl. And I think the Chiefs on their journey to a three-peat were met with a little bit of, oh, everybody loved us 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now they want to see us lose. This is just sports. This is how
the drama,
people,
y'all.
Yeah, this is how people interact with it.
Yeah. We want the drama. I think for players too, it ends up being like you get a little chip on your shoulder if you're sort of like the newcomers trying to like knock the Kings off because you're just like, oh, not on my watch. And then you have a chip on your shoulder if you're, the sort of like ones existing in power because you're like, well, I don't want to be the team that, starts to lose or loses rival or whatever. So it's like, it's a good motivator, I think, for everyone. It's just like exciting.
Storylines on storylines.
Yes.
I will be tuned in for that game. That game is Sunday the 16th, UConn versus South Carolina.
Tuned all the way in.
All right, that takes us to the intersection. Today, we've got a lot to talk about, and most of it stems from the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 59 was quite the game. I mean, the Eagles essentially took care of business.
Smacked.
I mean, yeah.
Just from
right
second
from
one.
the jump. Right from the jump.
Yeah, it really actually wasn't a game the whole time.
No, it wasn't.
It was kind of wild.
Eagles dominated.
Nobody
expected that.
they
really had the Chiefs like on their heels, which is strange to see somebody of Patrick Mahomes' caliber be on their heels in that way, which I personally think speaks more to the Eagles' game plan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened with the blockers up front, but they were not in action.
Yeah, there's a lot of defensive line celebrations happening.
Yeah,
some pounding, the sweat guy was doing his sweat on his forehead.
A lot of defensive end celebrations, which you don't normally get.
Yeah, I had mentioned earlier, I'm not like a huge fan either way. So I would have been happy with a three-peat, which I think is exciting to have that happen. It's never happened in the NFL. And I also would have been happy with the Eagles storyline because that's like you got Jalen Hurts, you've got the fact that they lost to the Chiefs 2 years ago, and now they're kind of a little bit on this like redemption tour. I personally do love the Saquon Barkley storyline, just a guy who I've been able to become friends with recently, and to have what happened with the Giants, and now he goes to the other side. ESPN, I don't know if you caught it, but their social media was pretty on point. They were talking about things like, I guess the grass is greener, which I thought was funny. And then also giant risk, giant reward. So I really love that. And
tough for the New York area.
It's going to bring us to a question I have for you, Megan. Jalen Hurts, everybody knows after his Super Bowl loss a couple years ago, on his wallpaper for his phone, it was a picture of the confetti from that loss. And that was like his motivation. We've talked a lot about how you can't have the epic win without the epic loss. So for you, is there a loss in your career that you use to motivate you?
Yeah, I feel like it was the 2011 World Cup. That was like really my first major championship. We got to the final. I was like, awesome. I guess this is just how it goes. We're probably going to win. Let's do it. Even throughout the whole game, I'm like, this is great. We're doing great. We end up, conceding a goal late in the game. Goes in overtimes. We lose in penalties. I think the thing I took from it most was like just the experience of going through it all. So now the sort of A to Z of, getting to a championship, going through a tournament, all those things. But also just like the tiny little things that games turn on. Just like, marking up at the front post or a penalty or something little. I feel like that to me just signaled like you don't have to change everything, but like you have to pay attention to everything and like those little things. So I think that was kind of the biggest thing I took from that was like how really close you are even when you lose. And then it's just like you just need to change those couple little things or change, focus on those little things. What about you?
The game that comes to mind is actually in college. We won my sophomore year, so we were trying to repeat. We get back through my junior year, and we lose to Notre Dame in the semis. And I mean, it was like a pretty dramatic, what felt like dramatic loss because we were up by double digits at halftime, only to lose by double digits. A lot was happening, but the one thing I remember was we actually had 2 seniors get hurt. So they didn't play in the NCAA tournament at all. Diana was a freshman. My class was juniors. The end of the story is that the next year we go undefeated. We win arguably the best college basketball team of all time. But in that moment, the starting 5, if you will, like I said, my class is 4 of us, then Diana, we failed. We failed miserably. And so that experience, not so much about the game itself, like it wasn't about missed shots or turnovers or the little moments like you were saying. It was more just the mentality and the understanding of what it takes and what needs to be there from like a mindset to win a game like that. Because I think we got caught up in the highs and the lows of it all. We were excited in the first half and then in the second half kind of got, shell-shocked a little bit. So that feeling of shell shock, getting punched in the face and not punching back, that's what I remember from that experience. So I think it helped us as a team going into 2002, but it helped me as an individual.
Punch back.
Yeah.
Ba, 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 ba.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was actually another storyline that came up in terms of wins and losses that I want to get your opinion on. At one point, Tom Brady, I'm going to read it, was in the booth and he got asked about his Super Bowl wins, but his Super Bowl losses, because as we know, the Chiefs are 3 of 5 now. So they've won 3 Super Bowls, but they've lost 2. And Tom in the booth said, I think about, unfortunately, the 3 Super Bowl losses probably more than I think about the 7 wins. It hurts to lose this game. So Megan, my question is actually more about not the wins and losses themselves, but more about getting to the finals and losing. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think does it tarnish the Chiefs players that they've gotten to the finals and won, but also lost? Or just what's your thoughts on that?
Well, unlike someone sitting at this table, I have gotten to finals and lost. For me, probably just because it's my experience, but also like I want to be in the game every single time, no matter if I win or lose. Like, of course, I want to win all the games and win all the finals and all the championships. But like, no matter what, I would take being in the final every single time over not even making it there. What about you? You're like, oh, I don't know. I've never.
That's not true. I lost in Russia in the finals once.
Yeah, once.
The one time.
Yeah, I know.
I'm torn. I'm torn. I don't like it. I don't want it.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like I come from a place
sucks.
of if I got to the finals, it means my team was good enough to win the whole thing. And now I have a level of disappointment I'm not comfortable with that I don't want to carry around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really where I come from. I think I'm just like, I don't want to say rather. I don't want to have gotten to the finals and know I could have won and I lost. That I think is not something I want.
Yeah.
I'd rather not get there.
Was it Serena Williams who said she hates losing more than she likes winning?
Yeah. Is that where it comes from?
Is that where it comes from?
I actually think I've lost. I just highlighted, losing in the NCAA
Singular.
tournament my junior year. No, I've lost in the
times.
WNBA.
No, I'm kidding.
I've lost. It's the teams that I think when they could have actually won and failed.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the types of losses you never get over. And I don't have a lot to pull from in my experience. And I just think that type of disappointment is just something you carry with you forever. You carry it with you forever.
I am currently.
I know. And that's why I want to ask you. So I want to ask you.
What?
I'm going to use World Cups, even though I know they're every 4 years, but imagine they were every year. The magnitude of the World Cup, right?
Okay.
The magnitude of the Super Bowl, whatever. Would you rather have gone to 5 World Cup finals and only won 3? Or would you rather gone 3 and won 3?
I'd rather go to 5 and win 3.
I'd rather go to 3 and win 3.
Yeah.
It just means you lost twice and you should have won or could have won.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I didn't get to the finals, this team wasn't good enough.
Just get out of here. I'm out. No, I want to be in it every single freaking time.
This is something that Diana Taurasi and I debate on all the time. We're actually on the same page on this one, though.
Yeah.
Because when you open it up, I'm like, ooh, the Chiefs. They're 3 for 5.
You guys
they didn't
need to
win
learn
twice.
to deal with failure.
They didn't win twice.
All you see is the 2. All you see is the 2 that didn't win.
To Tom Brady's point, he only remembers the losses.
I know.
Or remembers them more.
Yeah. It does suck. It does.
I do want to admit that losing in the playoffs, my final year in the WNBA, to the Aces who went on to win in 2022, we won game 1. We lost game 2, so it's split heading back home in a 5-game series. That series is something that I think about. It pops in my head every now and then. That's probably the most gutted of a loss that I've had in my career. And it happened to happen on the last one.
Yeah, tough. Just a little parting gift from the basketball gods.
Thank you. Almost got out unscathed. Okay, so the other part of the Super Bowl,
moving on to the most important part.
Yeah,
of the
probably
Super
the
Bowl.
more entertaining part of it. No, just kidding. The commercials.
Yeah,
the commercials. Megan, Nike put out their first Super Bowl commercial in 27 years. The title was, quote, "So Win," and Nike had this to say about it: "It's more than an anthem. So Win is a celebration of the power of sport, harnessing Nike's iconic roster to encourage all athletes to block out the noise, dig in, and let their hard work speak for itself. It featured Jordan Childs, Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu, who was actually in two Super Bowl commercials, also in Michelob Ultra, Sha'Carri Richardson, Asia Wilson, Sophia Wilson, formerly
Smith.
Sophia Smith.
Still going to call her
I was like, ooh, they did a typo. Also, Juju Watkins, Ariana Sabalenka, and Alexis Putellas. It was narrated by Doechii, which was dope. I noticed right away.
Awesome.
So for you, like, what stood out about that commercial?
Well, I think just the fact that it was there, first of all. Obviously, you know, a huge just like cultural moment. So it's a big investment from Nike. It's a big statement. I loved that. The eyeballs. I think just like clearly the moment that we're in currently with women's sports last year, I just feel like women's sports just took, a massive step forward on the business side, which is probably the most important thing. But you had all like the storylines and the narratives in there. So I did love to see it, but I also want to see companies, brands, whatever it be, the sort of like money behind all this to continue to move. And I'm not saying it was totally like this, but continue to kind of move past the like girls deserve to play too. And like sort of celebrating just the fact that it's like, okay, all these women, like we're just going to celebrate that and start maybe focusing more on just like putting them in the commercial because they're superstars and like that's what we're celebrating. So I definitely liked it and I thought it was really good and it's like so dope to see all of these players in here.
I thought they looked great. Oh, they all looked great.
I mean, it was like shot beautifully. All the players looked amazing. Was on point. The styling was dope. Super cool. But I just want to see us like continue to craft narratives around like the present and the future, sort of like moving forward, obviously carrying our stories of like where we came from and how we got to this moment. But in general, I feel like dope. It was good to see. It was a big statement. I feel like, yeah, that's what I felt about it. Sue, what did you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree. I think it was great. I think all the things you said, right? The moment, the magnitude of a Super Bowl commercial, which really speaks to investment. Nike hasn't done one of these in 27 years, which is crazy to think about. So I thought all of that was great. The storyline itself, like the messaging, was interesting for me. I think for you too, given that we are women in sports who have had insane success. So I was of two minds. Like at first I was like, well, yeah, we've been doing that. But then I realized like, oh, maybe other people don't know. Maybe other people don't realize that we have had to shut it all out. We have had to, like what they say, literally. We've had to
like you can't win.
Block out. No, we've literally had to block out the noise, dig in, and let the hard work speak for itself. We know that. So then I realized like, okay, but not everybody realizes that. Not everybody knows that. So for Nike to highlight that, I think marks the start of, to your point, what you're saying, the pathway to showcasing other things. The only other thought I had was I'm looking forward to, now we've established like with this moment. And now I think it'd be cool for, Nike, for other companies, whoever it is, to start having that more individualized commercial or individualized storyboard.
Yeah.
This was a group, which I think you needed for the impact of it all. And now you want to see like what it is that Sha'Carri, what it is that Juju, what it is that Sabrina, what it is that Asia, Caitlin, so on and so forth, had to deal with like individually. Because I think that's how you build these stars, and that's really what leagues run on.
These like superhero sort of like star narrative. Yeah, because it's like, what's the men's commercial that has the caliber of all those players, like literally gold medalists, World Cup champions, WNBA champions, like name it, that this group of players like has the accomplishment. What's the equivalent in men's sports? Like you would never see, that commercial in sort of in a Nike commercial, in a sportswear commercial. So how do we continue to kind of push that forward? Yeah, sometimes it's just like, we know the whole history of women's sports.
So you have to like step outside of that.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about this. I think
sometimes it's hard to do that.
This was a starting point in a really wonderful way on a really big stage. But there were other commercials as well, that were both supporting women and girls in sports, but also just women in general. The first one that comes to mind is the flag football commercial. That was done by our people over at 72 and Sunny, so shout out to them. I thought it was great. It had humor to it with like the whole high school bit at the start.
Yeah.
But obviously at the end of the day, the message was, for girls and women to get involved in flag football. It's going to be an Olympic sport in LA, so that's a given, what made this obvious. But what I loved about it is it's another opportunity, I think, for young kids, young girls, to play a sport that they can really enjoy. I watched it and I thought to myself, oh my God, would I have even been a basketball player if this was possible?
I did powder puff.
I loved playing two-hand touch. I never really got into like official flag football, but I played all of that at the park with my friends.
Yeah.
I loved playing it. So it made me hype to see this commercial to know that young girls might now play flag football more.
Yeah, totally. Just another avenue for them.
Yeah.
The early breast cancer detection commercial was great.
Boobs. Lots of boobs.
It definitely had you raising an eyebrow and like being like, what on earth? Where are we going with this?
Brought it back around.
Brought it back around with Wanda Sykes. You love to see it. Quick shout out to McDonald's, Angel Reese, Lisa Leslie, Stewie, and Lotto in that commercial. That was great to see. So much fun. Yeah, overall, I feel like women were really prominent in this. While not a commercial, but something that was also really cool to see women shining during the Super Bowl. Autumn Lockwood is one of the Eagles coaches, became the first Black woman to win a Super Bowl. So shout out to Autumn and congratulations to her and the Eagles.
And then there was the halftime performance.
Yeah. Will he, won't he, will he, won't he?
He did.
He will.
He did.
Kendrick Lamar performs first rapper to headline the halftime show solo. Serena Williams cameo, which was my favorite
Wearing
part.
Chucks, what?
I was like, this is
Sea
awesome.
walking,
Come
what?
out. Sea walking.
Take that. Wimbledon? Was it Wimbledon?
Yeah, I think it was. That part was just so out of nowhere.
Yeah, which is what made it pop.
And it was just so good.
Yeah, it's what made it pop.
Loved it.
Obviously, there was a lot of reference to Drake. I mean, Kendrick's picture where he's smiling at the camera is going to just go down in infamy.
Yeah.
That's going to be used
Definitely.
a lot. It's already being used.
Yeah, it's
all my group chats.
all-time meme.
We had a friend who was at the game, and he said that pretty much everybody was singing Not Like Us, and everybody sang A minor, which is just, I don't know. I can't imagine it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
I know. It's like, I think it was Charlemagne the God that said this is like, such a crossover song. It's like going to be on Kids Bop eventually. And it's like, it probably shouldn't be on Kids Bop.
Yeah. I think overall, zoomed out, when I look at the Kendrick performance, the way I left was feeling like this. I think first of all, let me start by saying I'm a huge Kendrick fan.
Yeah, same.
I've seen him in concert. I love his vibe. I love the way he dances. I love the way the way he moves around the stage. Like there's always purpose, which when you watch him, you have to keep that in mind because you're like, wait, what does that mean? Everything has a meaning.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of Easter eggs throughout the course of the show, whether it was, as you pointed out when we were watching, the dancers are all in red, white, and blue. They form a flag. It was just, there was a lot. Serena popping out. I think the part that I've been seeing on the commentary on social media about this being a Super Bowl halftime show is really just around how we're used to, I mean, look at us. All of our attention spans are like 2 seconds long. And it's like, if you're not coming out, if Jesus didn't walk out, you're bored.
Yeah.
But like when you actually look at the details of his performance, I mean, this is going to go down as one of the best because of all the meaning and also where we are as a country right now.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, he had his moments with Drake, but there was other things that were happening in that show that were so meaningful.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of commentary about the flag, obviously them getting in the flag formation. That's like the flag on the backs of Black people sort of carrying on the American dream and the ideals of freedom. He's always going to put all kinds of little nuggets in there like that.
And then they had Serena with the trolling.
Oh,
so
next level.
The ultimate troll.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have, where does that rank? Do you have a favorite halftime show?
I don't know if I can do a ranking. I mean, I loved Rihanna's. I thought it was so good. And she was pregnant and her outfit was awesome. And it was just like, so Rihanna. We get so little of her.
Yeah,
too.
the pregnancy was
just epic.
That was crazy.
Like,
just dropping a pregnancy
so
live
good.
on TV.
So good. Yeah, so that was probably my favorite recent. I don't have a whole catalog, and I'm not going to rank them, but I've really loved that one.
Yeah, I
What
think,
about
well, for both of us, I know we agree on this. Like, we were at the Super Bowl when Dr. Dre performed with, I mean, basically everybody.
Yeah.
Including Kendrick, but
Yeah.
basically everybody. That was incredible to witness.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say my most memorable halftime show was Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. I feel like everybody's lying if they don't say that. I remember vividly where I was sitting, like who I was with, and the fact that TiVo was like just kind of popular and that you could rewind. And all of us were like, wait. Can you rewind that? Can you rewind it again? Can you hit rewind one more time and again and rewind it? I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
So that to
Did it
me
happen?
is like the most memorable. But you know, there's some pretty epic ones. Prince in the Rain.
Oh, so
That's
good.
up
I mean,
there.
Whitney Houston national anthem. Epic.
Epic. But yeah, so back to Kendrick for a second. There was a lot of fashion. You want to give us a little bit of a fit check?
A lot of good fits.
A lot of good fits.
A lot of fashion crossover intersections going on. Kendrick Lamar, obviously him and Martine Rose have had a long relationship. British designer. Martine Rose designed our suits for the 2023 Women's World Cup. We met Martine last summer. She's amazing. So she designs a lot of his clothes and makes a bunch of custom. His jacket was custom by Martine Rose. That was super cool. PG Lang, his creative, endeavor with Dave Free, that was on the back. Gloria, which is a nod to his pen name, basically, or like how he operates with writing. I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was Mr. Morale.
Yeah. I mean, but he's many.
No.
He's many things. So that was a nod to basically what happens when he gets a pen in his hand and it's glorious, or something like that. Taylor McNeil, his stylist, longtime stylist. Also, the bell bottoms. Are they in?
I can't believe it took you that long to get to them.
I mean,
are we calling them bell bottoms or their flare?
What's the difference?
Teach me.
I don't know.
This is me doing my research.
Honestly, I don't know. I was like, are bell bottoms for short kings? Are they for talls? Are they back?
I immediately was like, I have those in my closet.
Yeah. And then I was like,
I'm
do
pulling
you?
them back out.
I genuinely.
Yeah, I just bought some like a couple of months ago.
Okay. Listen, they're in. They're back.
Mine aren't as tight at the top though.
His
were
tight
I mean,
at
there
the
was
top.
I
I think there were a pair of Celine's.
there were some things accentuated.
I couldn't even tell what his shoes were the whole time. I just learned.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, the Deion Sanders. Because the bell bottoms were
Locking
covering him up. But he looked great. Obviously, he always looks great. Samuel L. Jackson, who was serving as Uncle Sam, custom Emily Bodie, which was great. We love her. Serena and just classic Chucks.
Loved it.
Love to see it. I liked the overall like visual style of it all. I thought it was really cool. Super cool how they all hopped out of the car and just like kept coming. All the different outfits. But yeah, major shout out to Emily and Martine for being center stage at the Super Bowl. That was fire. Loved it. We have a quick little Are You a Megan or Are You a Sue today. As you guys know, we've been dipping our toe into some yoga. Into some hot yoga. Hot yoga. Yeah, honestly, let's not leave out the hot because, wow, it is so hot in there. And something happened. This wasn't something that we did or that happened to us, but it did happen to us when we were there. There was a yoga class too.
There was an assault.
There was an audio assault.
There was a public assault.
Someone tooted in the class. Do you laugh?
Toot doesn't even. Why are you? It was a wet fart.
Oh my God.
Was it not?
Oh, it just feels
It had
so
a
much
gurgle
to
to
say.
It had a gurgle.
Oh no, it just feels so much to say.
You could tell it was by accident. So poor that guy.
Yeah. Do you laugh or do you not laugh? Honestly, I feel like maybe you were going to laugh more because you looked over at me.
I didn't look.
Oh, you didn't?
I stared at the ceiling, biting my
knowing
lip.
you couldn't look at me.
If I looked at you, it would have been over. Because I know you'd been laughing.
So maybe the Are You Megan, Are You Sue? The Sue is, are you laughing? And the Megan is, are you just like,
You were laughing.
No, I wasn't laughing. Was I? I couldn't look at you either. Honestly, we don't actually know what the other one was doing because neither of us could look at each other.
My whole body clenched as in to hold, not a fart, as in to hold my laughter in. I was like, whoa.
I just couldn't believe it. I was honestly though, what really was happening, I was so god dang hot that I was just like, I can't even take this on right now. I am just trying.
I can still hear it.
I was praying it wasn't going to smell, and it did not. But
The assault was on my ears.
tough.
Like we said, that room's already stinky, so it's not like it smelled. There's no change in odor, but
No. It's not going to stop us from going back, though. We're committed.
I feel like this is what's funny. You're now taking back you laugh at everything. Don't ever
I
trip
know.
in front of Megan.
I can't help
Don't
it.
ever
It's like such
stumble
an
on a word
inappropriate
in front of
reaction from
Megan.
me.
Game over.
I know.
Game over.
I feel like I was just like, I cannot give this any energy, otherwise I'll lose it. Definitely couldn't look at you.
I was not looking
Definitely
at you.
couldn't look at you, not looking at me.
I was not looking at you.
That would have been a whole scene.
Eyes were
Anyways.
straight up. And we were laying down. Therefore, he was laying down near us.
Ugh, tough. So honestly, you guys, I don't even know what we're asking in here, but like, what is your yoga etiquette and what should our etiquette be? What should my etiquette be?
Team Sue, where you just
Stare
hold
at
it
the
all
ceiling.
in. Hold it all in. Or Team Megan, where you let it fly.
You just,
If one of us was going to toot in yoga class, it would be you.
for sure. And laugh.
And laugh.
And do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. You guys, give us a call. Call us at 1-866-TOUCH-8 or leave us a comment on YouTube. Let us know.
Just a touch more, a little bit. Just a touch more.
Yeah.
On to a touch more. We're going to do it a little bit different this week. Each of us is going to leave you with a touch more of something that we want to talk about. So, Sue, what do you got for us this week?
This week, I want to highlight UCLA's Lauren Betts. She has announced that she's going to be returning to college for her senior season. For those that aren't familiar, Lauren's actually only played 3 years in college, so she's basically returning for her senior year, but she was WNBA draft eligible. So this is a big announcement. I don't think it's a big surprise. Her sister committed to the school as well, to UCLA as well, so she'll get to play with her sister, which is, you never know when that's going to happen again.
Adorable.
And I actually think you can make the argument that from a financial standpoint, this is actually beneficial to her. First of all, she wants to come back for her senior year. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to be with her sister. Cool. So that's I think I'm sure what's driving the decision. But I think the nice byproduct is the WNBA CBA, the new one, kicks in 2026. So to get drafted in 2025 means you're going to be part of the old WNBA CBA system.
Okay.
So if you're drafted in 2025, you're going to be on a 4-year deal at whatever money. Now, the way it works is that money will bump up to whatever the 2026 minimum will be, which is great. But if you're drafted in 2026, your money, the system, the years, it's all different. Because we know there's going to be a huge influx of money because of the media deal, you would guess that whatever pick you get picked in 2026 is more than 2025. So all that to say, she's staying.
She's staying
She's
for
staying.
another year.
All right, Megan, what you got?
This one coming out of the NWSL, Restitution for Players. This reporting was done by Emily Olson from The Athletic. The players have settled with the NWSL as part of the sort of ongoing investigations into the sexual abuse and other abuse suffered by the players during a period of time in the NWSL. The settlement requires the NWSL to set up a $5 million fund. Players who suffered abuse and harassment in the NWSL will finally earn compensation for what they went through. Obviously, no amount of compensation can, account for some of the horrors that some of these players went to, but it's a good step in sort of like justice and just even as like a marker for players and some sort of justice being done and accountability being had. I think this is great. Last week, the league agreed to the settlement with the attorneys general of D.C., New York, and Illinois as part of another investigation into misconduct across the league. The settlement follows a pivotal reporting in 2021 that uncovered several allegations of abuse dating back to the formation of the league. Those revelations included the lack of the league's policies to protect players from their abusers. So just a couple of bullet points on the fund. 2 players with settled claims against the league may be paid $1 million from the fund. The remaining $4 million will be distributed to other players who file claims during the set 180-day window and are approved by a third-party administrator. Former U.S. Judge former U.S. District Judge Barbara Jones. The NWSL will also have to establish a policy that requires teams to consult the league's Players Association during the hiring process of any head coach to, quote, ensure they have an adequate opportunity to raise any concerns about the prospective hire's history or reputation as it relates to player or staff safety and well-being, end quote. So I think this is just a good, again, this is just like helping, I think, the players move forward, but also like atoning for what is being done in the past. The settlement is great, putting a little money into the players' pockets. So that's news out of the NWSL. And that's it for this episode. See you next week.
Thanks to McDonald's for their support. McDonald's and the game of basketball have a long, storied history, from giving fans a basketball collectible with the 96 Dream Team Cups to the 50 years of the annual McDonald's High School American Game. And now, McDonald's is turning the spotlight not just on women's basketball, but on one of the game's biggest stars, queen of rebounds and double-doubles, WNBA All-Star Angel Reese. For a limited time, you can try McDonald's new Angel Reese special featuring the barbecue bacon quarter pounder with cheese. Let's break it down. Barbecue sauce, American cheese, crispy bacon, pickles, onions, a sesame seed bun. And don't forget the fries and a drink. Maybe try Angel's favorite, a cold, crisp high C. Get the Angel Reese special at McDonald's while you still can, at participating restaurants for a limited time.